We are bringing back Your Music is Bad and You Should Feel Bad, the most important music podcast of all time. We're going to start talking about Devin Townsend's new picks. It's just a warm-up to lead us into the theme of Rick Beato interviewing the three most insane guitar players in the world and who are currently on tour with each other. You could rightfully think I mean insane, like they're very good at the stuff that they do, which is true, but they're also probably very mentally ill. So we'll get into that. I don't know what to expect from the Beato interview, but based on other Beato interviews, it's gonna be crazy. All right, so Devin Townsend has these new signature picks. He's like deep in his super unnecessary gear phase. Okay, he got an endorsement with Kiesel on the technicality that his primary brand, Framus, the guitar division of Warwick, who makes are known for extremely nice basses. Framus makes his guitars. They don't make a headless guitar, so technically that doesn't compete with Kiesel, but that's an insane thing. That's like such an insane technicality. You used to see a lot of like, you could have multiple guitar endorsements if like you needed an acoustic one. Like, okay, so such and such guitar company doesn't make acoustics, so fine, you can get a different company acoustic endorsement. But just to have headless guitars, which is just from what I can tell, so he can like play them on tour as like a little practice backpack guitar. It was just, I mean, good for him, but like, I'm amazed. I guess why Framus is not really cutting into Framus's business because they don't make any mid-price guitars, as far as I know. They're a like high-end only brand, kind of like a Comparison. But he has these ridiculous signature guitars, and that you'll never see. I don't know who stocks them in the United States. Somebody does, I'm sure. I don't know who. But what's crazier than these picks themselves is this little video he made for them, which appears to still be the only promotional video for him. Now, I know he's on tour, whatever, but like, come on. I feel like shooting a video on the tour bus would have been less crazy than this. Okay, I've seen this brand online, and they definitely seem gimmicky. They're like weird shapes, or it grips better, whatever. Like, I don't need anything too crazy in picks. I used to use Jazz 3s, but they're a little small for certain things. So I went up to like Jazz 3 XLs. They're slightly bigger, kind of like in between a Jazz 3 and a regular size pick, still kind of pointy. And then I use the Ultex because it's like, I don't know, the Tortex always felt weird to me. And like the texture, the like powderiness would wear off immediately. The Ultex seems to sort of maintain a little bit of that feel, and so they're a little grippy. And it's a fairly sturdy material, and I use real thick ones. That's about it. Like, I can kind of see certain things, a lighter pick making a little more sense, because it kind of changes the attack a little. But honestly, it's easier for me to just play lighter with the thick pick than it is to get the resistance out of a thinner pick. But anyway, that's all relatively sane guitar pick talk. So Devin has these big triangle guitar picks, which is fine. I get he wants a big surface to grab, but he's got like these different edges to them, which again didn't necessarily sound insane. Like, I don't know, have one edge be thicker and stiffer and one be lighter, but no, he needed a serrated edge. I was okay. What is that for? And so we're gonna listen to him explain it. He decided, like, I don't know. I want to know what I want to see is the behind the scenes of this pick commercial, because it's like, I understand he's like, oh, there's the only place that wasn't noisy. Was it the only place that wasn't noisy? Because it's a toilet, and which is not a good sounding place. And on top of that, he brought his headless guitar, and it's not plugged into anything. And that's like the worst sounding guitar you could use. So he's in the worst sounding room with the worst sounding guitar to try to show you how the pick sounds. But to be fair, it does sound different on the serrated edge, but not good. And so I don't know. He's doing a lot of weird stuff lately. Honestly, it's been years. Like, everything he comes out with now is super hyped for the weirdest reasons. Like, okay, I got the Ziltoid thing. It was silly. He needed to make an album by himself. He pioneered, he's a fake drum pioneer, and I will always appreciate and respect him for that. But that was about as funny as he ever got. Was the alien wants coffee? Like, okay, yeah, sure, man. But then Ziltoid 2, it was just like there's these balls or whatever, and something about boogers or whatever. I don't know, man. Like and now he's talking about he's gonna make a symphony. Well, I mean, I think he changed it, but originally it was gonna be a symphony about dicks, and it was gonna cost $1 million. It would be very expensive. And I'm like, that is an insane statement. That to me sounds like he needs to talk to the kind of people that Kanye should be talking to, and because he always talks about how strappy young lad's bad for his mental health. Well, what is going on with his mental health now that he's talking about $1 million dick symphonies? I don't know if that's better. I feel like there might be maybe if it was me, his newer music would drive me way crazier than Strapping Young Lad. Strapping Young Lad at least is cathartic. It's supposed to be. I don't know, man. Here we are in the toilet.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Devin Townsend coming to you live from the backstage toilet in Kentucky.
At least it's a clean toilet.
We have to do this, so forgive me. But it is a seat, and it allows us to do this video. So this is for...
Why you didn't have to have a seat though? You could put on a guitar strap. You could just stand anywhere. Apparently, you have somewhere to put the camera. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just on his phone or something. But I feel like there's a lot of ways, without a lot of effort, you could have done something better than this. And I'm surprised. I was expected to go here and find a better video by now. I mean, I know they're still on tour. Okay, you got to factor in the type of acts that don't really spend a lot of money on things. And that's understandable because I'm sure that, but at the same time, Dream Theater and Devin Townsend are the most successful, quote unquote, prog acts in the world presently. If anybody's making money, it's that. And we know Dream Theater's making money because that's why they didn't, when Mike Portnoy was like, guys, maybe we should take a break so we can come up with some new ideas. And they were like, no, because we're going to ride this money train all the way to the bank. We're going to put out the same album 5 more times, and then, maybe a real bad one in the middle, just so that people appreciate us repeating ourselves again when we get back to it. This one's okay because it's just the same. But anyway, Devin and his awful sounding picks.
Attack guitar picks. So let me give you a story as to why I ended up designing this signature pick, the Earth Tone pick with acoustic attack. For many,
what do you call it? Earth tone? Because I don't think the earth sounds that bad.
Many years, the sound that I've been sort of looking for in a pick, I use these kind of big triangular ones, but the sound that I like is when the edges are a little frayed. Not so that it's ratty, but just enough so it gives a bit more grip to the string. If you heard U2 or Brian May, they kind of do a similar thing with different type. Brian May uses a coin, and I always would seek out the one pick that was just at that right level of being frayed, and then I would have that as my go-to pick in the studio. Even though I would have 1,000 guitar picks, I would always seek out that one.
Yeah, but that sounds that just sounds like he's using he likes worn out picks, which I kind of get. These picks start out very pointy and textured, and they get smoother and rounder. And it's different. It's a little different. So I was expecting it just a worn-in guitar neck feels good. I'm just gonna make these picks that are certain. They're relic, road-worn guitar picks. But that's not what he's talking about, and that's not what we're gonna hear. I'm building up too much, but I was so shocked when I actually heard this.
On a clean tone, it gives sort of it's almost like a gain stage on the sound, and I love it.
I mean, it's not. That's really not an accurate description of what it does. It's not and I think he means because it sounds kind of distorted in a way, but it's not. The picks do not add any sort of gain. That's not how that works,
so I've been
or what that word means.
Guitar pick companies that I know and have been working with, if they would be able to replicate that, I would send them these picks that I had a fondness for and pointed to the edge that had the right sound. But up to this point, the creation and the replication of that has been impossible.
He's again. This is just where this is where I'm concerned, because he's I kept sending my worn out picks to these companies and they just couldn't reproduce it for me. They couldn't take my worn out guitar pick and copy. Like, yeah, 'cause that's a crazy thing to do. And like, they're presumably spending money on it. Like, it's not like, oh, you take my beloved rare guitar and make a replica of it. Like, no, I got this worn out guitar pick. You got to make the guitar pick that says worn. And it doesn't even sound like the result is what he's describing. Instead, he's like, it's serrated.
So Acoustic Attack sent me some picks that had some texture to it and gave sort of an interesting sound that made me think that perhaps they could help me develop this guitar pick. And lo and behold, a year later, we are now...
It took a year. It took a year to figure out how to make a pick sound this bad.
1 millimeter. It's a big triangle, but the idea is once we get this one perfect, which we have now, then we can move into doing like the more the Jazz 3 style or the more traditional style picks. But they have their own shapes. But for me, this is the shape that I was looking for, and I'll give you an example of what it does. So even though we're in a toilet here backstage, normally,
and your guitar's not plugged in, and it sounds real bad. And let's hear it.
A pick sounds like...
Okay, that sounds like a pick.
It's got this...
It sounds so bad. It sounds like... It's not even like when you scrapey and you play with like the edge, which also he was playing with the first part, he was playing with more like the flat of the pick, and then he really like angled into it here. So he's really scraping the serration against the string. And it sounds like it's, again, you can't hear how it would sound through an amp or even on an acoustic guitar or anything. He's in a bathroom and his guitar's not plugged in, and it's a headless guitar, the worst of all sounding of all guitars.
And what
It just sounds bad. It sounds like it's like any number of problems with your guitar would cause that sound, like a fretting out. Like, just why don't you just put your action so low that every note is like plinky and buzzy and sounds like it's fretting out. Good job. Great picks.
it does is it just gives like a bite to it.
A bite.
We found a way to make the edges of one corner, it's almost like serrations, and we went through a number of iterations of how serrated it should be in order to achieve that effect. So if you're looking to do more traditional, like the riffing and what you would do with a normal pick, you flip it to one of the other angles. But when it comes to doing the real lyrical sort of single note things, which I love doing in a solo context, I love the kind of lyrical guitar playing.
Yeah, lyrical.
We've got a pre-sale going on now if you're interested in that, and I'm just
Pre-sale. You gotta pre-order the picks.
accomplishes. I'm not particularly great at selling things, but I know what I want, and this is something that I've been wanting for many years. So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you to Acoustic Attack. This is Devin Townsend, sitting on a toilet, and I hope that doesn't deter you from checking out these picks.
I'm really curious to see if he ever I guess it's when they're done with tour, maybe he'll Attack pick. I mean, is it a separate? Why is it like a separate brand from? There's like Attack pick and there's Acoustic Attack, or is that the whole thing? Because I've seen other picks from this Attack brand. They run a lot of commercials. These weird ones. This is clearly the right brand for him. These are the ones I've seen where it's just like there's a wider surface with some grip on it, and then the edge is sort of just like a smooth XL Jazz 3. It's sort of like, yeah, you literally got the Jazz 3, and then this guy is, which that kind of makes sense. Like that would give you a better grip, both the bumps and the like recessed thumb like groove. But I just use regular Jazz 3 XL Ultex, and that works fine. But this I could at least understand the reasoning behind it. Where he's like, no, I need one that's gonna sound scrapey, and then these ones are like have like little bumps on them and stuff. It's just, this is a weird pick company. Oh yeah, here we go. Look at these ridges.
These are the Attack picks from Acoustic Attack.
Ambush. They're like ribbed.
So each of these picks was designed specifically for a certain purpose. The ambush and the attack both have these raised barbs, and these are really great for acoustic guitar.
Yeah, see, that's not, I guess it is technically texture. But when he said texture, like, oh, they got these textured picks. Yeah, there's lots of people with texture, make it grip better, or even the way it contacts a string. But these are like past the point of like reasonable tone, like really starting to make weird sounds and weird vibrations, which, okay, fine, sure. But like, to me, it really just sounds like another thing that guitar players are going to be like, oh, you know what? I think I need those new ribbed guitar picks. And then like a month later, you're going to be like, I went back to my regular guitar picks on account of they sound normal. And this is such a weird thing to do.
They're going to give you extra percussive elements. And
extra percussive
12-string guitar.
Okay, they're not going to mimic 12-string guitar. There's much better ways to mimic a 12-string guitar. Even if you have multiple little surfaces contacting the string, there's only one vibration once it hit it. So like, it's not going to be like a 12-string guitar. There's two strings. Each course is two strings ringing together, and they're tuned partially in octaves. And this is just going to be like, oh, there's a weird little, again, it's the stuff that sounds like when your guitar's set up bad and there's a fret sticking up and it makes a weird little, or some other thing is like touching the string and it makes a bad sound. They're like, what I want my picks to do. The blades, ridges, ribbed for your playing.
This is for more control.
Control, what are you getting control from?
Next, we've got the Surge. This one,
again, like, I understand anything that's like, it helps you hold the pick better, because like my hands will get sweaty and then sometimes I don't hold picks so good. This one's very, like, this is it's very textured, raised little dots.
This is perfect for adding texture to your heavy metal chug.
I don't think that is the case. I don't think that is going to make your heavy metal chug sound better. At best, it would be, I believe, unnoticeable. And if you did notice it, I don't think it is a sound I would want interfering with the actual, he's like, oh, that's a gain stage. No, you know what actually adds a gain stage is the amp or simulation of an amp that creates the gain and makes the sound I want. The pick should not like interfere with it. It shouldn't be adding a bunch of stuff that is actually going to interfere with the consistent vibration of the string. They're well named. They add a certain attack that you don't need.
Picking and sweeps. They have a nice indented grip.
Again, this is the one that almost makes sense because the edge of the pick is relatively normal. It's similar to like a John Petrucci pick, which is an extra large Jazz 3 with an extra smooth edge on it, but with a real big area for your thumb gripping, with like the nubs for gripping it better. That makes sense. I feel like this is the one pick they probably sell, and all the other stuff is like, oh, what else can we do? What are the weird pick company? What else can we make?
So you can buy all of these picks individually, or you can get an 8-pack for only $13.99. That way you can go ahead and try them out and decide which is your favorite.
That seems high. I want to say, I really don't know offhand. Jazz 3. Oh, you know what? Okay, 16 for a 24-pack is what I paid. So we're looking at like $8 for 12. And so this is like double. 6 for 8 is like double what I pay for picks when I order them in larger quantities. I got to deal with the store, so I get them for less there. But yeah, it's expensive for a pick, but I guess they're special fancy time picks. But as soon as like Dunlop or somebody, if these actually catch on, Dunlop will just copy it or do something close enough, and they'll be much cheaper. And I don't think these guys are gonna sell enough picks to like compete. I do like a thick pick, but some people don't. And so like whatever works for you and whatever works for your playing style, but it starts to get ridiculous, and it starts to get like, there's just so many guitar products over the years that every it's probably like 1 in 10 new guitar products is actually useful and not just some nonsense to trick guitar players into spending money on something, because they're just addicted to gear. And so there's a new product that's like a string wrap that like sometimes certain guitars will come with something under. Either they'll have like ESP would have these like piece of plastic under the strings so that in transit so that nothing gets scratched up. And then sometimes other guitars would come with like paper around the strings for the same kind of purpose. But there's a company now that has like these really like microfiber string wraps that double as a strap and other crap, and it's like such a nonsense product. It's just another example of crazy stuff that they can sell to guitar players. So there you go. Now, down to business. We got to deal with Beato, man. Like Beato's out of control. I do enjoy some of his interviews, but mostly the ones where he doesn't talk much and just like interviews someone cool. And it's not even really an interview. It's more like he has a big platform, so they come on and like Steve Lukather. I watched the Steve Lukather one. That was great. The Sting one was good because he made the classic Beato mistake where he's like, you know, oh, it was really cool how you do this and that, and Sting's like, I don't know anything about that, man. Like, I don't, like, he's like, I didn't know, like, he thinks everyone knows more theory than they do, and then is surprised when they don't know what the hell he's talking about or care. All right, so this is an insane matching. Again, it makes sense because they're all on tour together, but it's very funny to have them all do the interview together, I think. If you don't know, I think it's called the Dream Sonic Tour. Dream Theater, Devin Townsend, and Animals as leaders. Tosin Abasi. Where's Javier? Why don't they interview Javier Reyes? I guess he's not. Like, I appreciate Javier more these days because sometimes he plays guitar like a normal person. Tosin refuses. He was like so deep into the thumping and the like polyrhythmic like not even tapping, but like a lot of like weird technique that at the end of the day, like it adds, it like it makes the music this much different. And like early on it was kind of cool, but and I get it, it's his thing, whatever, but it doesn't sound like it's going anywhere new. And he also keeps making up new guitars for no reason. We'll get into that. Is this the JP? No, that looks like, is that a Mark? Maybe it's a Mark 7? Something in the effects loop is like coarse or something. That sounds like he's got some kind of, or maybe it's some phase in the room, the way it's recorded or something. I don't know. Well, let me notify the Discords real quick. Oh my god. All right, hold on 1 second. Before we get too deep into Beato land, let me make sure. Oh, same thing. Okay. Momentary beach detour. Make sure. Where the hell did it? No, not what I. No. No. I opened Dropbox and I can't get it to close now. Please go away, Dropbox. All right. Discord. Did it not?